6 days, because the most powerful economy around the world was having an election that the incumbent, Donald Trump, is still in the corridor of justice trying to file litigation. Most U.S. trust news agencies have declared their 46th president in the person of Joe Biden with Vice President Cameron Harris. With me in this studio, I want to start with you, Mr. Pope Bertrand. What do you make of the historical events in the USA?
You see, when something is true in color, it is appreciable. You see, the rest of the world and Africa watch an exciting.
Just to indicate to the broadcasting house that we have videos there, please help us roll them over as we are talking tongues.
To tell you that when something is good, it is appreciable and it's sweet for consumption. So was Africa, the rest of the world, Israel, and all other continents involved. Watch with some degree of chemistry and love the U.S. Democratic presidential election. To cut the curtains, Mr. Monitor, you see, America is 360 years plus. I don't want to go into those details, but I want to say that this is time from these American elections. I want to cut it and to draw the curtains and educate our African leaders. As it is often put that until African leaders will be liberated from the greed and hunger of power, that is when Africa will begin to emerge. And I also want to pass the news to maybe our own incumbent President Probia, Ouattara, and the rest of them to say that it is time. Power. We cannot have the monopoly of power. If you have the monopoly of power, you can't do it on your own, as Bush said. I want to say here that we should be able to practice true democracy in Africa. I'll be coming back to this
after you, Pope,
Mr.
Item, I'm sorry, you are a jurist. Let's talk about the process. This event took place amid COVID-19, and we know the US of A is one of the most hit community with the COVID-19 challenge. How did you assess the manner in which this election took place?
Yeah, I think American, I must say, it is a very strong country, and they have taken a lot of measures to ensure that the election is really free of COVID-19. That is why the incumbent, Donald Trump, is facing a lot of difficulties. You know, he's complaining of mail-in ballot and voting by post, which has been a measure that has been put in place to ensure that people don't come face to face. You know, many people are scared to go out, considering the fact that even the incumbent himself was caught coronavirus in the midst of his campaign. So it had to set the pace. I will let you know that America was one of the nations that was a victim of this disease only in these late hours. When COVID-19 came to place, they were free and they had stringent measures. But unfortunately, it's a global disease that no matter how difficult you might fight, in as much as you accept immigrants into your country, you will always come across such diseases. And to say this election, irrespective of the fact that Joe Biden is being projected, I think Donald Trump is on his feet to challenge such victory. Because if you hear what Donald Trump is putting forth, he is saying that some of his observers were rejected, especially in posts like Pennsylvania and in many other areas. He said that his election observers that were there were rejected and it's against American laws. And therefore, such an election cannot be accepted. And if you learn about the Supreme Court decision was of the view that since Donald Trump is objecting those ballots that came later, after the 3rd of November, Supreme Court said that they will be accepted, even though they were on remarks, they came later, but in as much as Donald Trump does not have visible evidence to back up his case, they will still be considered as the decision of the American people. As of now, Joe Biden has overtaken with 219, while Donald Trump is 214, and we are hoping that, irrespective of the fact that Joe Biden is ahead, Donald Trump will take it kindly because he has refused, as of now, that he will not step down because you have realized that the abracadabra that used to happen in African continents, where president refused to step down, is going abroad.
I want to bring you into this line of discussion to talk about a minimum of 270 grand electorate were needed for Joe Biden to back up this position. He went above that, and over 71.5 million Americans casted their vote for Joe Biden. And still, Donald Trump, the incumbent, still feel that there are some fish in the cupboard. Do you see that fish with the incumbent?
There is no fish in the cupboard. He should not behave like some African leaders. There's no fish in the cupboard. I think that American democracy is really high. And there is a question mark in American democracy with what President Donald Trump wants to do. It is not. There was transparency. It is because of COVID-19 that the mailing system was brought forth. And I think that he respected that, he accepted that. And Mr. Moderator, I want to say that Donald Trump will be one of the first, one of the presidents that have not won.
Yeah, that's only one term.
Yes, only one term.
He's
one of them. Yes, one of them. So I want to say that Donald Trump is not that kind of person that have that humble nature. You see that he have a personality of always being there, the fighter personality, as if he always be the president of, he must be the only one to be the president of America. America is ruling democracy. Donald Trump can never be greater than America, though he has his strength and his weaknesses. Let me look at Donald Trump in terms of issues of migration. Okay. Donald Trump had issues of migration in America, whereby Donald Trump even never, there was an issue of racism. There was a program we talked here where a black man was killed. Did you see President Donald Trump coming out to talk? Did you see him coming out to talk about issues like that? The blacks in America was already marginalized. And the people were feeling that the country was already divided. The Americans felt that their country was already being divided by the way President Donald Trump was ruling the country. And the issue of COVID-19. Many governors were fighting for COVID-19, and they said it is not high time for their schools to be open, for their nightclubs to be open, for their bars and other places to be open. President Donald Trump was the one saying that places should be open, and he took the issue of COVID-19 for granted. Even him was infected with COVID-19. The pandemic was so drastic in America. Many persons died, and many people could not believe in him, Mr. Moderator. With this, people felt that they needed a new president. They needed a president that feel for the people. And they went and elected Biden. And Biden has been, from every indication, Mr. Joe Biden won the elections. When you look at the electorate, you will see that you will see about 200 and something, 100 and something. Yes. The way was changing from state to state drastically to tell you that there was no way for President Donald Trump to meet up. Even the last state that Pennsylvania, where Joe Biden comes from, there was no way for him to defeat him in his birthplace. And that was the birthplace of the president. And he won there. And at the end of the day, by then, before the 270 electoral college came in, the President Donald Trump already came out and said that he's already winning the elections, and there's already fraud. You cannot declare that you have won elections in a highly democratic country like America when counting is still going on in different states. He came out and even said they should stop counting in other states. Is that correct? He was stopping counting in other states. Is that correct? I think that the counting was done by an independent body, and he had nothing. He is not the one to declare elections. It is the court that will declare the final elections. But when you look at CNN and other bodies, President Joe Biden was already winning, and he behaved like the chairman of the CRM in Cameroon, Mr. Kamto, who said that he scored a goal, that he did not score a goal. He declared that he won the election. Permit me, Lance. It's the same thing that Kamto did contextually. It's the same thing that Kamto did in Cameroon, and we feel that President Donald Trump is behaving like African opposition leaders, which is not correct.
Indeed. After you, Dr. Wabusi Pobetra, I want to now attack the personalities of the different candidates. But first, let's look on other stakeholders like the Senate and the House of Representatives that were jointly voted. We saw that there was a net balance between the Democrats and the Republicans that were to represent in both houses. And there's this issue of grand electorates in the United States. Do you understand that in modern democracy, there should be a particular group of people that actually make the final decision on behalf of the people?
No. It is often said that it is your sovereign right to elect your own person, and when you demonstrate this your sovereign right and it is being contested again or reassessed, it becomes a problem of choice making behind the screen. Okay. Mr. Moderator, I think I have pinpoint on that. Let me go back to paint more further picture to tell you that definitely Mr. Trump would have some legitimate counts to prove that there were some malfunctions. Let us not forget that the state of Georgia recounted its election, its votes. That is to tell you that something fishy went wrong, and if a chance is given for Donald Trump to paint a further clearer picture, then we'll start knowing from where he is coming from. I want to also contest with my most feared and respectable doctor that in politics it's a game of interest, and there are different jokers that come out from the coat jacket that the candidate carries. You see, Atiku also said the same thing during the count of election in Nigeria. It's not only Kamto and Butch who have come out with such statement. That is to tell you the strength in recent politics, and to say that where people are doing wish thinking is where people look at Black Lives Matters and immigration policies. I believe and strongly will tell Trump that whatever comes out of the ball, but you should accept it. But let us be that straight to ask ourselves that this campaign of Black Lives Matter in America, does Black Lives really matter in Africa, where all of us originated from migrating to the rest of the world? You see, some people also hold it that because of his strict measures to protect only American citizens, which to me I believe is a fundamental right of a president to protect his citizens. And that is why the American citizens enjoy the largest of being the first citizens in the world wherever they go. So that is to tell you that President Trump's policy was to protect Americans, and he stood for that. And because of that, he almost tempered with some of the immigration policies in America, which Africans, America, and some other immigrants voted strongly against him. But
after you, Bertrand, Mr. Item, let's zoom into the personality of Joe Biden and the Irish camera. First, Joe Biden. He was the first ever youngest senator. At 32, he was already voted in the House of Senate, and as if that was not enough, he had to drop 2 times. His wife, with 3 children, had an accident where the wife and the first girl immediately died, and he had only 2 other children to grow up. And even when these children were growing up, one at 47 gave up the ghost. And all this has caused him most at times to withdraw his candidacy each time he was thinking to vie in. He has been known in the Senate, having graduated from the law school, as one of the most renowned lawyer in criminal issues. Can you say that all these things has prepared him, that in 2008, when Obama was coming into office, he chose him because he failed the primary with Obama. He contested with Obama, and Obama won, but still chose him. And for 8 years, he ran with Obama, and Obama finally gave him the Excellence Award at the end of the 8th year. Can you say that all this journey up actually molded the personality we have today, and he's ready for the crisis America, the identity crisis, the racist crisis America is now facing?
I think most of the weaknesses of Donald Trump has given opportunity to Joe Biden to emerge so powerfully the way he is. But before I go there, I will tell you that the Democrats have been the one all along projecting Joe Biden, irrespective of the fact that there are other candidates. You know, it's like Cameroon, where we have CPTN. It doesn't matter whether you are too competent to handle issues or not. It depends how you have been so active in the party. It depends how you have been so diplomatic and so useful to the party that they can project you at one point or the other. It doesn't make Joe Biden so relevant than the other candidates who might have shown up their interest. But what I want to say is that Joe Biden is eloquent. Joe Biden is outspoken. Joe Biden is someone who struggled to look at the gymnastic, the reality of the world. That is why when he was going out to the society, he had to put on his mask. And even though Donald Trump saw it as a mockery, but he was indirectly trying to tell Donald Trump that what is relevant now is putting on of mask to protect. The mask was too big, as Donald Trump puts it, but he had to play to the gymnastics to gain the conscience of the American people. And let me tell you, Donald Trump has not been up to date, because when you look at Black Lives Matter, the weakness where Donald Trump failed to handle that problem amicably had to give Joe Biden a strength. If you look at the video that just passed, you have to realize that Joe Biden is embracing a black lady, a black mother, and telling the mother to feel at home to express herself. And you look at the vice president of Joe Biden is a black, and you will come to agree with me that America, the black society in America are almost overtaking. So this is somebody who had to come in with a lot of technicality to play on the American people. That is politics. You don't just use force the way Donald Trump is putting it. Let me tell you where Donald Trump is trying to win the conscience of people. Donald Trump is too religious to a fault, where people feel that Israel and the African community that is too religious, feel that a gymnastic can come from heaven. Politics is far from that. You have to go through the arts to play other people's mentality. Forget about truth. Some people feel that politics is not truth. Politics is trying to tell people lies and to sit and manage their resources.
After you item, I want to go to Doctor to talk about the personality of Kamala Harris. She graduated from a school as a political scientist and was lucky also to be voted as one of the youngest senator. And she has been known in the Senate for asking tough questions, especially when it comes to investigation. Do you think all these things prepare her for the position she's now assumed as the first ever black American to assume the position of vice president?
She has prepared a positive pathway.
Okay.
In life, you have to work hard, you have to be consistent, you have to be resilient. And this woman, if you see in her, you see resiliency. Where a woman that can bounce back to life difficulties. You see a woman that, despite her senatorial position, despite her position in governance, she still respects the husband. Okay. You saw even when they won the election, the way she had the respect, she embraced the husband and so on, to tell you that it's a woman that has support system even from the husband in politics. And she's telling the women out there that it's time for women to know that they can take position in government. And I think that she's an example of a model to all women in the world, because she should be one of the most powerful women now in the world as vice president in the world most known country in the world, America. I think that she's one of the best. She's one of the renowned person on contemporary times, and I think that woman will be able to work, because I feel that when a man is working with a woman, there's that listening aspect there. And she will listen. I think that Mr. Joe Biden will listen to this woman, and you can see that President Obama was a mentor to them. He encouraged them. He even went to campaign. He campaigned for them and so on. I think that these people have a lot of statements behind them who are going to mentor them, who are going to direct them to pilot the affairs of that great nation, America. But seeing the flaws of President Obama too, but I feel that President Obama is somebody who is having a positive relationship with President Joe Biden. I'll call him president because he has won the election while we are still waiting for the court, but I feel that he's the president of America. He's president-elect.
Mr. Pope Bertrand, let's now talk about the immediate challenges of the new president, the 46th president-elect of the United States of America. What do you foresee? So many Africans are expecting, they're happy. What are they happy for?
Well, like I said it before, that happy that the immigration policy will be reinstated again. Okay. Secondly, he has gone to buy the consciences of Americans to say that one of the best.
Is that not excessive?
It's not excessive. It's my point of view. He has gone back to buy the minds of America to say that one of the best surgeons in America who was struck by President Donald Trump, he has upped or decorated him to head the COVID-19 agency of the United States. And now to say that the world as it stands, America of course is the world supreme. There are a lot of challenges that await him, but as you all great panelists, including you, the moderator, has painted a very brighter political trend of this gentleman at 76 years old 78 years old in political strategy. I think he has a balance to handle and pilot American activities. But there is more than expected for him to do.
I will still maintain that same question to you.
Let me
yes.
Minister.
Go on.
There's an issue of Africans have been crying that there's an issue that we believe that America could involve in the internal affairs of Africa to solve the problem. Okay. And we thought that President Donald Trump would do that. He never did that. And even with President Joe Biden, I'm not sure he will intervene to solve our African problem. So I think that Africans have to decolonize their mind and start solving their own problem on their own. They should not wait on America.
When you follow the manifesto, Mr. Item, he talk about the solar energy. He's going to revamp the solar energy. He's going to go back to the peace treaty, the environmental treaty. He's going to resign all those treaties that Donald Trump withdrew from. Do you see that as a challenge, or do you think that he's going to weaken the American?
Has helped him gain international support. You know, politics is not isolated. Politics is something that, the prophet, the incumbent prophet in Nigeria, Johnson Suleiman, will say it. Tell somebody to tell another person to tell another person. You know, somebody, you might have a close friend in America that maybe he's working under you, that you might play over his intelligence, but you are in Germany, you are in France, you are wheresoever. So in so doing, you can't intrude. You remember in the last presidential election where it was blamed that Donald Trump won because of the influence of Russia. How could Russia, a different country, intrude into the affair of America? That is to tell that geopolitics.
So many close friends of Donald Trump are in jail now because they lied before they come.
Yes, that is to tell that geopolitics is influential when it comes into political decision making. So therefore, this statement made by Joe Biden that he's going to revamp all treaties and organize, for example, the World Health Organization and the other that Donald Trump saw them as not useful to the American people. He said that he will get back there. What prompted most people to put these institutions in place is the First World War and the Second World War. That led, in fact, it traumatized the society. Trying to make people to live in isolation is building camps that might result to a Third World War. So Joe Biden, what is unique about Joe Biden that I'm sure the world is afraid, is that Joe Biden has a trend of legalizing homosexuality. That is why the African society, that they are so human, that they don't like some practices that they feel is anathema to their tradition, are behind Donald Trump irrespective. If you look in Nigeria, there are people on the streets of Abuja to support, and Lagos, to support Donald Trump so that he remains in power. Why? They are too religious to a fault where they feel that Donald Trump has made Israel the capital of Jerusalem. In so doing, they feel that this is somebody who is moving in the Christ-like way, and you can likely see him in the church praying and calling God's name. That is what Joe Biden has not done maybe in the few years of his life, why he so muchly believed in the fame that and the spirit world that gives him fame. Let me tell you, the politics of the Democrats is all about trying to bring some kind of practices that people feel are anathema to the 21st century, but they see it as giving rights, respecting the rights, as we're talking in the last program here, where we felt that the bishop was also trying to tolerate other people to live along with them.
The Pope Francis has already given a positive concern on LGBT civil rights. Yes, Pope Bertrand, you were trying to say something.
I want to still say here that some of the ingredients of good morals that could be found in Trump, which I fear Joe Biden will not be able to match in, is just like Arthur is saying, the Christian-like strength. Because when you remember, Doctor brought me back into the limelight, into my footings, when he said Trump could step in to solve African problem. I strongly say no.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden could step in to solve African problem. I earlier said it on this platform that Trump said he's for Americas and American first. And it is high time that our own presidents and head of state start emulating that. You see, Obama ended up at the end of his mandate said that his worst mistake in his political career was to step into the country of Muammar Gaddafi and got it where it is today. Most Africans, I will contradict what my fellow panelists just said, most Africans had a double mindset on the Trump saga. Some said that since Africans were repatriated by Trump, and since Trump was trying to hijack or close the doors of the DVD lottery, that was some point of underwood that some Africans kept in their mind. But you see, when you see people like President Barack Obama supporting or piloting the affairs or the roadmap to the White House of Biden, it means he is, in other words, finding himself around the White House in a similar state mandate to continue with some ungodly and unholy activities which he started painting at first. I take responsibility for what I say.
And on the presidential election, Dr. Busi, that have seen massive participation like never before, but so many people are seeing the shadow of Obama coming back.
But if you could, there are issues of technocrats. Whether I like it or not, there are technocrats in politics. And Obama is a technocrat. And Obama and Joe Biden, they are good friends. And the truth is that whatever Obama says to Joe Biden, he will hear. And now it also depends on who will be the party that will gain grounds in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And if it's possible that the Democrats takes over the House of Senate and the Representative, the power all belongs to them. And the kinds of laws that will be emanated from the Parliament or the Senate will come from, know that Obama's influence will be there. And that's the truth. That's how American politics is. The technocrats behind, they are the one who determine what happens in American politics.
This topic will be developing. Dear friends, let's take you to the second and last topic. We encourage you to keep sending your message. We have received close to 5, and we think